Hello and welcome to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast on NPR. No, I'm kidding. It's the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. My name is Paul Stevenson. I'm here with Greg Campbell and David Warren. And this is a live recording as you're listening. We are recording. We are actually going to be airing new episodes of the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast on Tuesdays. So this is basically Friday. Typically, it'll be at 10 a.m. as usual. But today we're doing it at 12. But typically we'll be recording live 10 a.m. Fridays, and then we'll be releasing that episode kind of polished, edited, etc. on Tuesday. So the Friday morning recordings will basically just be to tune in to the recording, to see all the chaos and the errors and omissions that come along with recording a live show. So you're getting to see all that today, and and here we are. So before we got into that, we were just actually talking about the article that I posted in the comments that OBJ did on Greg, and maybe if you want to quickly summarize again for us, Greg, how you know Mr. Bourne and how that came to be.
Yeah, Kevin reached out to me probably around December, after Tom had mentioned my name on Rogan, and he was like, you know what, man, that's a great intro to do a piece on you, and I'm writing for the OBJ, and they said they'd be interested as well. So we went ahead and did it. It was a great summary of my life, quickly scratching the surface to summarize my life. But yeah, super happy, super impressed with Kevin and OBJ. They're obviously amazing people, and they do a lot for the city. So yeah, you can check out Kevin's company, Shifter Agency or Shifter Magazine. He does a lot for Ottawa and some stuff in Toronto as well.
That's awesome.
But yeah, thanks guys.
How's the week been in real estate for you guys? What's the latest? I know we were kind of trading notes and war stories before we got on here, but we're March 26th. So we're a quarter of the way through 2021, which is wild. What's the latest, Greg? Dave, what have you guys been seeing lately?
Dave, you want to start that one off? You go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, another crazy week, at least that I'm seeing, and continue to be frustrating for buyers. But a couple of very funny kind of or coincidental stories. This week I was referred from a realtor partner, a client. They ended up buying my old condo, and I'm financing my old condo that my wife and I bought pre-built, lived in for a year and a half at Lisgar and Elgin in the Merritt, and sold it. It's been sold again. It's all of our furniture still from when we sold it originally to the buyers. Our couch, the desk, our like sofa bed, kitchen table, like island chairs.
Move-in ready.
Yeah. And it's exactly what, when we sold it, the woman that bought from Toronto, bought office was from Toronto, wanted it, loved our furniture, wanted it fully furnished except for the bed basically. So she got the whole package included. And then fast forward 4 years and it's traded hands once more. But my clients are from Toronto, relocating to Ottawa, buying this condo fully furnished with all of my original furniture. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
That's amazing.
Of all places, all houses in Ottawa, it happens to be.
Yeah, of all the units. Yeah. Of all the units, either that means you're doing an extreme amount of business, or that was just a wild coincidence, or both. You know.
I mean, I had again another one last week. I did the financing originally on it for clients, help them just move and financing on their next place. The clients that are buying their house are mine, and I'm doing the financing on that same property as well for clients that I did the financing on the same house 3 years ago. Yeah. And it's just really, 400,000 homes in Ottawa, and it's kind of just, I find it pretty hilarious.
Just landed in your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are definitely still buzzing. I had a few clients. We're not hearing about it as much because it's really become the norm. But Greg, you're probably hearing it a bit more than we are. But homes are still selling for well over asking. In most cases, still close to 100,000 over asking. And I still have a lot of frustrated buyers, people skeptical to sell and so on. I do have a bone to pick. A small one with a couple builders in the city, as we've been, not to harp on the builders, but I had an interaction this week with a buyer who asked specifically to introduce me to the builder so that we could coordinate with them and basically remove the client to just, ease their mind and make them not jump through hoops. The builder basically declined being able to communicate with us, even though the client made us the intro saying, please deal with my broker and so on. So now we're having to basically communicate through the client, asking for Schedule A's and a bunch of stuff that the client obviously has no idea what we're talking about, or it's all jargon, right? It's just real estate talk. And this is the first time really where I've run into it where the builder just flat out refuses to provide information, especially even when the client is directly requesting them to do so. So that's been a frustration because, I'm trying to explain in layman terms to the client, like, this is what we need. And then they're sending me documents that they've received previously. And, some of them aren't signed and, it's they're not like both sides haven't agreed to it. And it just creates a lot of unnecessary ripples, which just slows down everything for the client and for the lender and for us on our side. And I just find it unnecessarily redundant for the client and increasingly frustrating because this is not their business, right? I mean, they have their own career, their own path. And this is what we're supposed to be handling for them and really not being able to we don't really have the opportunity to do that, which is challenging to say the least when the closing's fast approaching.
Is it a well-known builder? Oh, sorry, Niv.
Yeah, no.
Is it a well-known builder?
Yes, one we've spoken about recently. So
wow,
I'll just I'll bite my tongue until we have the Schedule A and the signed documents I need.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
there's no sense to any of that.
The interesting thing with Paul's scenario too is that the builder left out an entire schedule that is referenced on the purchase agreement. You'll have on a new build purchase agreement, you'll have multiple schedules that are referenced in the original. And this would include, diagrams of where the build is going to be, your Tarion warranty, your, what's going to be included. They're leaving out an entire schedule and not providing it when it's referenced in the purchase agreement. This schedule could contain anything. The client signing a purchase agreement or has signed one, but the builder is just not providing the information that the client has signed saying they have.
Please agree to Schedule A that you've signed and reviewed, and no Schedule A attached. So we've been trying to pull the Schedule A out of them. And then the other side of it is that the price itself is a set price plus HST, and most lenders will only lend what's written on the actual agreement. So if it says plus HST, well, we need an agreement that shows that HST added most of the time, right? With the majority of lenders, they want to see what's the final sales price. Now, it's very easy to add HST to a price, but that just leaves room for human error, right? So just put it on the contract, so everyone is working with the same number. It's just
happens all the time.
Yeah, it's just those sorts of things, Greg. As you said, I know you're frustrated with builders, and again, I know they have their own problems and they're having their own issues, but these sorts of things are easily mitigated by just allowing us to handle it as the client has requested and we've requested, and that introduction was made for that exact reason, right?
Also, a reason why people should be using a realtor with builders as well, because
very
those
true.
schedules wouldn't be omitted; they wouldn't be left out.
No, and to be fair, if you're only moving 4 lots at a time, how in the world can you miss one? Like, how can you make a mistake on one? You're selling 50 at a time. I mean, I can get it. Something can go missing, but come on, man. You're doing 4 deals and you're missing paperwork, and then you're complaining that you don't want to talk to the lender. That's like, I don't know who. Anyway, well,
I'll tell you afterwards.
Stop there. I have a question based on for you guys that you might know that I didn't know until recently. Tarion. So I guess, Dave, you would probably definitely know the answer to this, I assume. If you tear down and build infill, you didn't have to get Tarion. But as of February 1st this year, you have to have Tarion.
So if you're building as a self-build, you're building your own home for yourself, you do not need Tarion.
Right.
If you're building
to sell.
If you're building to sell, to sell off right away, then it's mandatory and a requirement to have Tarion in Ontario. If you're building a rental that you're holding yourself and holding as a rental long-term, you do not need Tarion either for that.
So there was someone that I heard through a colleague that their accountant said that they didn't need Tarion and they didn't know any better. They're like, oh, okay, cool. He said we didn't need Tarion. So now he's got his place ready to sell. And then they're like, well, do you have the Tarion documents? And they're like, I was told I didn't need them. They're like, no, you have to have them. Yeah. So now this his whole sale is delayed like 6 months because he was misinformed
while he writes his Tarion license.
Exactly.
What I don't understand is why that accountant is providing advice with regards to building.
And why the guy is taking his accountant's advice and not talking to a lawyer, somebody that would be better informed. 100%. I mean, I don't know.
That's unfortunate. I mean, the at least he is able to, if you don't have Tarion originally, you can retroactively put Tarion on the property. It's a warranty. Small builders, I believe it's 15 or 20,000 that's held in trust with Tarion
30.
in case there's claims.
30
Yeah.
now.
So on those are for small first time. If it's their first time, they go larger. I know some of the larger builders like the Mintos and all that are builders that have built hundreds or thousands of homes a year. They don't actually have anything held in trust because they've transacted. They've done so many deals that they have that reputation. But small builders, first timers, it'll be up 30,000 is the most that they would have to have held in trust. But you can at least retroactively, even after your build is done, put Tarion on. So at least for your guy, he's not having to open up walls or anything like that. He's just having to get licensed. He's having to get registered with Tarion, which can do a course, takes time, get set up, and then
and he has to get that extra 30 grand that he thought he didn't need. I mean, he can do it, but it's just his whole life just changed because of some bad information. It's all about education, right, folks? That's what we always say here at the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast.
Education is knowledge is power, as they say. I agree. I had a client misinformed by their lawyer this week saying that they would, if they sold their property, they would have to pay capital gains, their primary home. And I sent them basically a link to CRA saying that they have to, I forget what the exact term is. I'm actually going to quote it just to make sure I say this accurately. So when it comes to basically primary residence, so CRA does not specify an exact duration of time that you have to basically live in the home or reside in the home. The tax rules refer to the residence being ordinarily inhabited within the calendar year, which is a relatively low bar when you put it that way. So basically these clients bought a new build. Their plan right now is to move into it as their primary home. But it's gone up to 300,000 since they purchased it a few years ago. So now they're considering, well, maybe we just move in and list it and sell it 2-3 months later and take that equity and buy something maybe a bit further outside the city. So I was trying to, look at the different options as far as, maybe taking a variable just to lower the penalty and all the different things that, nuances that would go along with selling it quickly. And they just decided that, they said after speaking to the lawyer that they decided not to sell because of, all how expensive it would be. Now, obviously there's going to be realtor fees and there's going to be things associated with selling. But one of the things they specified was capital gains tax. And I was trying to, I told them, always take the advice of your lawyer, but, here's a link from CRA that contradicts what they're telling you.
Anything to do with, again, just like Greg's colleague or friend or client that built, don't take builder advice from your accountant. Don't take accounting advice from your lawyer. Go to the professionals that are in that space,
right.
Or ask around if you're not, ask 2 accountants even, or something of that nature, or 2 lawyers.
And there's a lot of things that I feel like clients ask us stuff all the time. I mean, it's just anything dealing with real estate, they'll ask us, right? Like, well, what's this? What's that? And I'll always say, this is what I believe, but definitely check with XYZ. They will know for sure. Like that should always be the advice. Like, talk to your mortgage broker, talk to your lawyer, talk to your accountant for depending on the situation, and get a second opinion even. from that, like from someone else in that field, like you always want to get 2-3 different, at least conversations going with
now have those clients spoken to their accountant or called CRA on their own? Like
they are speaking with their accountant. So I just kind of gave them in short, here's my thoughts, and directed them to the proper channels.
And for people listening, I mean, that might not be aware of how capital gains on real estate is concerned.
Yeah, sorry to talk jargony again.
Yeah, as a owner occupied property, if you move in and you claim a property as your primary residence, when you go to sell, you are not on the hook for capital gains. You do not pay any sort of tax on the money or proceeds that you make from that sale if it's been your primary residence. You do, however, pay capital gains or taxes on the increase in value if it's a rental property. That is the time that you're going to be, that you'll pay on that difference in gain. So,
and Dave is not an accountant.
Not an accountant.
Not official advice, just from our experience. This is what happens.
From the couple of deals or couple of transactions that I've done personally.
This is why people tune in.
Yeah. I know. I feel like the market is, I don't mean to be, pessimistic or negative. It's just, it seems like with, like all of these things, the market is wild enough that to throw in all these additional curveballs, it just makes everything more frustrating for clients. It causes more confusion in the market. It causes headlines to be written that aren't accurate. Like it just, all of those things coincide with misinformation, right? I mean, everyone, those people go and tell their friend, well, I can't sell because of capital gains. And they tell someone, like it just, that's how misinformation spreads quickly. And especially with social media and information being able to travel in real time globally, that sort of information travels really quickly. So I think, the reason why I'm bringing all this up is just, well, kind of to vent, but also just to inform people as to what's happening out there, right? Like these are true events. This is actually happening. And these are the sorts of things that do bog down the system and slow down processes and, get clients frustrated and agitated and all that stuff. I mean, it's just, all of this stuff can be avoided. So,
Seek proper counsel from the appropriate professional in that space.
The appropriate sources.
I will say one thing on home values in Ottawa, if this will make listeners feel better about the exorbitant prices that we're seeing in Ottawa. I'm refinancing a condo in Vancouver right now. That is a 700 square foot 1-bedroom condo, and it is going to come back at $957,000.
Just $1,000 a square foot.
Where is it, Dave? What street? Do you know? Well,
it is it's on Scotia Street.
Okay, I don't even know that. That's obviously a newer town.
Next to TD and RBC Road, eh? Banking district out there.
But just to make everyone feel better about the home, at least you're getting a detached home in Ottawa for less than that. But our prices are still crazy and a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. But just put it in context of what else is going on in this.
$1,000 a square foot is what that would be going for condo.
What do you guys think of all the news lately with CMHC all I see in the news right now is like, warning, this can't last, buyers beware. Like I'm just, everywhere I look, it's seeing like the advisors are saying this will not go on forever and this will burst maybe.
I mean, like a lot of that news comes from out of CMHC, which is a Crown corporation. You don't see any of these articles from Genworth, or now rebranded as Sagen, or Canada Guarantee. You don't see these articles from them. CMHC is they do a lot of market studies and a lot of press releases around it. I think it is a lot of fear mongering and headline grabbing. The same CEO of CMHC, Ivan Sedel, last year when the pandemic hit in March, CMHC came out saying that the market across Canada would fall 18%. Take everything that they put out there as a grain of salt. They also insure, a huge portion of real estate in Canada. I think they are trying to caution people of like slowing down the market or reducing prices from just a risk standpoint, but I think it's a lot of fear mongering and headline grabbing. And I mean, really, I've spoken to somebody, a client of mine is high up in the risks department with CMHC. And I spoke about those articles, similar articles last year that were written. And he just kind of laughed and said he's not going to get into it. And that's, he thinks, and he was kind of saying that he thought they were ridiculous articles. And he's in there, and he was there. He's top, one of the top people in the risk department for CMHC. So
wow. Okay.
Two things to touch on here. One, clickbait is real, obviously. I mean, these publications literally get paid based on the amount of clicks. So the more vibrant or more engaging or controversial a headline, basically anything that contradicts the general public's opinion on something is going to get more clicks, right? Because it's going to be engaging. All these social media platforms also promote anything that is controversial or creates discussions around negativity. So, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. The other side of that, CMHC, I mean, as you said, I mean, the default rate in Canada is outrageously low. I'm sure it's had a slight uptick in the last year, but it's outrageously low. And at 4%, if you're putting 5% down and CMHC is taking 4% as an insurance premium, they should have a lot, like an immense millions, if not billions of dollars in premiums that they have. And I don't think they need to be fear mongering anyone. I don't think there's much risk at all to the market, to the economy, to CMHC. And I think any article that they're putting out saying that this is happening or that's happening is probably in their best interest, is in their best interest, and isn't necessarily the most accurate information you can find on that subject. As you said, I don't know the specifics, but I have to imagine that there's, there might be some influence on the back end to be posting those articles. And I'm sure they have government grants coming in and other things that keep their business afloat. Right. And I mean, they're a business. I mean, they have things they have to do the same way that they need people looking at their articles. Nike needs people looking at their website. I mean, everyone's in business, and everyone's trying to get people to get to their message. And regardless of what that message is, I mean, you got to kind of look at the incentive behind the message and what the intention is, right? Behind the person putting out the message.
Yeah. I think
education is key. The Ottawa Real Estate Podcast.
Yeah. To Paul's point, the default rate with CMHC is 0.02%. That's their default rate on their books.
And they take a 4% premium on a 5% down mortgage.
Yeah. There's they have very deep pockets from a premium capital that is paid up front, paid by the borrower. If you refinance 5 months later, you're getting out of that CMHC. You're not covered with CMHC anymore. You've paid that premium. That's gone, and you're not covered any further. So there's a lot of properties and real estate within Canada that they paid that premium. They're not even insured anymore. It's not even an insured mortgage anymore, because 2 years into their first term, they refinanced or they moved and went into a conventional mortgage instead. I think for at the end of the day, for any of those stories, just take them with a grain of salt. Look at the past stories that they have been putting out to see, what their predictions were and how they were fulfilled.
Yeah, they should stick to premiums and stop giving market advice. In my opinion,
a lot of great info today.
Ryan Dunlop,
I like it.
Great comment, says, "Are you guys getting tired of people asking you when the Ottawa bubble will burst?" Yeah. Follow-up question: when will the Ottawa bubble burst?
I was out for a friend of ours' birthday last night. We were out for dinner and we were sitting on the patio and a friend walked by, and she was actually asking myself and a friend of mine that I was with what if we thought the bubble was going to burst in Ottawa and whether prices were going to go down. And I said,
that's a CMHC term, bubble. Ottawa bubble is a
the number one, I personally don't, and all the literature out there is that it's not going to happen anytime soon. And as we can see by supply and demand, however, the people that are waiting on the sidelines, that are maybe renting in a position to buy, waiting for a bubble to burst or prices to decrease, I feel are the same people that when that happens are still not going to buy because they see prices going down and they're going to like, well, they say, oh, well, prices are going down. I'm not going to buy. It's a bad time to buy.
I'm going to
wait. But if prices going up, I'm going to, not, again, still sitting on the sidelines, not buying because prices are going up. I feel, it's kind of comical.
There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And there always will be. I mean, right now, if you're out shopping for just a standard row home in Orleans, you kind of need $600,000 no matter what you're looking at. And we're seeing, the silly price of $499,900 is always getting 600,000 almost. And they're getting like 30 to 40 showings on each one. Yet another one that's priced accordingly at, let's say, $550,000, you might get 4 showings. And they don't get multiple offers, even though it's a better house than the one at $499, because mentally, if these people think it's out of their price range and the agents aren't smart enough to show them, I don't get it, and, but anyways, back to like sidelines, there's people dropping now because of that with my business, kind of what we touched on that test like last week, the people dropping, the people going to Quebec or looking at alternate sources now is really mind blowing, and it's affecting our bottom line. I think it's a very difficult market to navigate, but it's learning a lot about people and how everyone thinks and how this business works. I'm enjoying it personally, but it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a big, there's definitely a big shift in the market, and it's been going on for a while. But to your point, Greg, I mean, we're looking at that as well. Kind of, we're expanding nationally right now, but Quebec is definitely our next first target, is to kind of get a presence over there. And I mean, it's inevitable that people are going to slowly seep over the border into Quebec.
and now the same thing's happening over there though too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's happening everywhere.
It's the Ottawa Canadian Real Estate Market Podcast.
Yeah.
We'll just keep expanding the name. The Ottawa Canadian North American Real Estate Podcast.
Always.
Yeah.
Education.
Ryan Dunlop is asking, Greg, you're probably the best resource. So they said, did Vancouver ever burst, or is it still after 10 years madness?
It never burst. Vancouver just kind of stopped. It dropped a little bit, but it just plateaued, and now it's on the come up again. I mean, and that's like I think we were talking about that a few weeks ago. How right now Ottawa's in a 20-year cycle, where in the 80s, we gained about 20% for a couple of years, and then it went back to just plateauing. You get up 0.5, 1%, 2%, back down to 1, up to 4, whatever, for 20 years. Then in 2000, it went through the roof again, and right now we're here. So I mean, it always it's like a steps, walking up the steps.
I just keep thinking of Dave's
bit more on that next step.
Yeah.
And that's what Vancouver went through. Same thing.
Best time to buy is today.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. To Dave's point, a few weeks ago, I've thought about this many times as I go through my current sale and new purchase renovation, is that home prices in Ottawa historically double every 10 years. So anyone who's bought a home or is thinking of buying a home, just keep that in mind. That is a men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
That's a good number
Jay-Z
to know.
Says Jay-Z.
Every 10 years, and it's still like that. Yeah.
I mean, if you could buy an investment and someone said historically this is going to double every 10 years, like how could you not want to get in on that, right? Or just at least keep that in mind, because it just opens doors. I mean, it allows you to potentially downsize down the road, maybe buy that retirement residence or cottage that you dreamed about. I mean, there's a lot of, it just opens a lot of doors, and keeping that perspective of in 10 years from now, the value of this should double based on historical stats. That's pretty profound when you're a homeowner, right? To think that. I think a lot of homeowners in Ottawa right now feel like they're kind of a fraud, because when people tell them what their home's worth, or they see a home on their street sell, they're like, there's absolutely no way. There's got to be something wrong. There's got to be a bubble, but there isn't. That's actually what it's worth. You're not a fraud. Your home is worth what it's selling for. And I think when people kind of understand that or accept it, accept that kind of positive outcome, that it will force people or trigger people to want to look at maybe their forever home or upgrading or downsizing, right? And just kind of thinking more long term.
Yeah. I mean, I always say too, like, even if it, some madness happened and it dropped a bit, like let's say it dropped 5%, and then, but you're up like 40%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're buying a house now that you're going to try to sell in a year and think that you're going to make $100,000, I'd say that that's not the best idea. But if you're buying a place that you're going to be in for at least 5, I mean, you're good. Just get it.
Just
build that equity.
Just
build
do
that
it.
equity.
Just do it.
And that'd be a good slogan. We should do the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. Just do it. Hey, no one's got that.
Never heard it.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. You should just do it. That's what we should do. Yeah. Mood boost. How about we get into the mood boost?
Let's do it.
Mood boost.
All right.
Sure,
all right.
For sure.
So we're back to old T-Bone today. We're back to the OG, the new OG. My dad was disappointed that his cut never made it to air, so we'll have to bring him back for a few mood boosts in the coming weeks. So number one, what did Mr. and Mrs. Hamburger name their daughter? Patty.
Obviously.
What did the carp say to his crush? Don't play coy with me. And last but not least, a priest, a pastor, and a rabbit walked into the blood clinic. The nurse asked the rabbit, "What is your blood type?" "I am probably a type O," said the rabbit. Rabbi,
Okay.
rabbit, typo. Never good when you have to explain it. Hey,
No, that one was a little much. First two, not bad. Not bad, Paul.
I'd say 1.5. I'd say 1.5 on 3.
But
okay. Okay, I'll pass that on.
Okay.
my dad will be thrilled. My brother will be shattered. So we're going to get a competition. It's in the books now. We have to. Have to.
Bill was 4 for 4.
Yeah. At some point, we may have to have the two of them on and just have a battle. They just have the two of them tell their 3 best, and we'll let the listeners decide.
That would be amazing.
The video with the three Stevensons telling mood boosts be pretty hilarious.
A mood boost battle.
Before we forget, if you are watching this live, Stephen, can you bring it up? And Ryan Dunlop, I know you're still watching. Stephen, are you there? Tonight, best poster ever made.
Wow.
Tonight, I'll be DJing live at 10:30 p.m. on Twitch for the Wham Bam House Jam, brought to you by Ryan Dunlop and Paul Shudlick. So tune in if you can. You can get the link. We'll put it in the feed here, I guess. And
I thought you were going to show your magical set. But this is even better.
No.
That's a great.
I don't know where he got that
photo
picture,
of you.
but
I don't
amazing.
even. So serious.
Yeah.
So serious.
So serious. It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
So tune in if you can, and it would be wonderful to see you guys online tonight.
I will be there 100%. Is there a chat box? Can we big up some songs
There
and
is.
so on?
Yeah, if you're on Twitch as a member or whatever, you have an account, there's a chat box.
Perfect. Yeah. So just an outro for everyone that tuned in kind of mid-sesh. So Fridays, we're going to be still recording live at 10. So 10 a.m. Fridays is when you can tune in if you want to watch live. We've decided to basically record Friday mornings, and then we're going to release the edited version of the episode on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, etc. on Tuesdays. So recording Fridays, Ottawa Real Estate Podcast episodes will be released Tuesdays. And if you're a fan and want to tune in Fridays live, that's basically why we're doing it. Just kind of keep the vibe the same, allow you guys to ask questions in real time, and just keep it fun, keep it friendly, keep it going. Just keep it
legal
going.
and keep it vertical.
Keep it legal, keep it vertical. Yeah,
just keep it on, keep it on.
Just do it.
All right,
just do it.
All right, boys. Well, everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday. Good Friday, great Friday.
Yeah.
Next
Thanks,
Friday.
guys.
Yeah. All right.
Great day.
Deuces.
Ciao, ciao.